Why alignment and not hustle might actually be the secret to your success, whether it's in business or in your career. Welcome back to another episode of the 4Q podcast. If you're new here, my name is Sheena Shui. I'm a business coach, business mentor, rather, a burnout therapist, a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I've had several businesses in several different industries. And I want to talk about alignment over hustle. So today we're going to talk a little bit about hustle culture. I'm going to share a bit of my story, and then I'm going to talk about like the impact of misalignment. So let's get into it. So if you want sustainable success, if you want a life where you're not only successful, but your mental health is okay, you have time for your family, for your friends, what's important, you're not going to get to the end of life and say, I wish I worked less, I wish I spent more time with my family, because again, for anyone who's ever read The Wishes of the Dying, that's the most popular wish. A wish that I spent more time on the things that mattered. My kids, my time with my friends, my family, my health, and not work. We want to make sure that you're not that person. And that kind of goes into this hustle myth, this sort of idea that this old school idea that you have to work so incredibly hard, harder than everyone else, have this perception of the hardest worker in your, in your team, in your business to get shit done. Now, don't get me wrong, there was some truth to that when capitalism was first taking over the world and really growing in the 70s, 80s, but a lot of people attributed hard work to what really was just a growth in the GDP, growth in economics. We were all getting richer, and it wasn't because people were working harder, it's because the economy was growing. But there is this idea of being the best, and you can be the best and not work the most. I think sometimes there's this idea that whoever works the most is the best. And I remember there was this bodybuilder, I think it was Ronnie Coleman, it could have been Arnold Schwarzenegger, talking about the fact that for ages they could not crack coming first. They kept coming like fifth or fourth, like they couldn't quite crack coming first at these competitions, even though they were training harder than everyone else, the more hours than everyone else, right? And I remember them sharing this story about how one of the other competitors who kept beating them invited them out for drinks the night before they had to compete, right, on stage. And he's like, why would I do that? That is going to sabotage all my work. And, for bodybuilders, there's salt and water composition around their body. They had to be really mindful of that, yeah? Anyway, he just thought, well, fuck it. This person keeps beating me. I'm just going to have a couple. Long story short, they had a few drinks, whatever. He ended up coming first after that. Yeah? That was the first time that he had beat this competitor. And I can't remember the exact story. I have a feeling he may not have come first. It was like first or second, but he beat this competitor after that. And so I guess the importance of that story is reminding ourselves that you need to let go a little bit, and it's not always working the hardest that is going to get you the results. What is going to get you results is how you work and the output that you have. So we need to let go of that hustle myth, and also your whole identity being tied up in what you do. This is a very dangerous thing that I see in a lot of female leaders, entrepreneurs, where they don't know who they are outside of their role. If that thing was taken away from them, that business, that role, that idea, that thing that they've created, if they couldn't tell anyone about it, if nobody knew it was them who created it, if, it just stopped existing, they would feel like they stop existing. They forget that there's so much more to them. They might be a wife, they might be a sister, an aunt, all these other things, a dog lover, but also their values of like the kind of person they hold themselves to be. Are they a caring person, a kind person, a person sharing a really important message in the world, not only by who they know and what they say, but how they act? How many times have we run into someone when we're having just a really shitty day, but they do something kind for us, like upgrade our coffee for free or give us an extra shot in the drink, or, just they smile at us and they go, oh, let me do this for you, because they can tell that you're in a bad mood, and that just changes everything. Maybe they didn't say anything or do anything that outrageous, but them being who they are at their core made such a big impact on you and your day and your life. And sometimes that can be the difference between someone's mental health declining that day and not, right? So we really have to be clear about who are we outside of our roles, outside of this pervasive thing, because that is what drives the hustle. When you are getting your worth through everything that you do and who you are and what you do for work, that's a very dangerous place to be, because if that thing gets taken away, it can feel like your whole life is crumbling around you. It can same go for other things, as I've mentioned before. Some people over identify as mothers, and so if their child gets sick or something happens, or the child's leave the nest, or they have a falling out with their kid, their whole life crumbles. And so it's really important that we have a diverse range of who we are. So it's really important that we focus on alignment rather than hustle. And alignment is really just building your career, your business around your personal goals, your business goals, your personal values. And it's just a healthier and more effective approach. So it's building a business where you go, okay, let's say freedom is one of your values. I'm going to make sure that I build this business in a way that enables me to have freedom, that allows my staff to have freedom, that allows my clients to have freedom, really infusing that value in every which way, but also aligning with your short and long-term goals. So again, for example, some people who might be wanting to get a house or wanting to have kids or wanting to travel, it's really important that their business goals align with that. Because if you're building a business where you're tied to your time and you're traveling all over the world and all of that, but you want to have a kid, where's your kid going to fit into that? Is your business going to crumble because you've built it based on you, and then the kid comes along and you're resentful at the kid for mucking up your business, but you didn't build your business to fit around your kid? This is what we mean, is that you need to build your career and your business around your life goals. But a lot of people have this false idea that, again, you have to be the best, you have to work the most, do the most, be ahead of everyone else. And I find the entrepreneurs who focus on freedom first build innovative ideas, innovative offers, innovative machines and ways of doing business and doing their career that actually makes them an industry leader, even though they're working far less than their competitors, because they have to be innovative in their approach to make everything work. And even right now, if you're working for someone and you're not in your own business, or maybe you're part-time in your business, you can change the culture of that industry by changing how you work, how you operate, how you negotiate your contract. It takes someone really bold to do that. But if I've worked with people who went to their company and said, I want you to pay me for my output and not my time. I want you to pay me for my results, not my time. And so what that looked like is, again, I always use the website example, but let's say you're selling websites. You're not selling 40 hours of your time. You're selling the fact that you've got the branding and the website done. It's the same thing, whatever industry you're in, you go, this is what the project is that you want me to do. I'll get that project done for you, but I'm not going to say that I'm working 40 hours a week or I'm working 9 to 5 schedule. They have more flexibility in what that looks like to deliver the project. They set their own schedule, their own hours, but they say, you're paying me to get this project done, not how I'm going to work and when I'm going to work. But that takes someone bold to lead the industry. And so I want you to see yourself as someone who can do that, right? And that is where alignment comes into place, because you need to align with the biggest version of you who is capable of doing that. Everyone is capable of standing up for themselves and doing that. It's just we all have different levels of audacity. We all have different levels of work. We all have different levels of blocks that come up when we want to ask for what we're worthy of, when we want to ask for what we're capable of, how much we can tolerate a no, how much we can tolerate rejection. All of us have different variables of that. So we all have different fears when it comes up to showing up and asking those questions. So that is what I mean, is that it takes a lot of personal work and alignment to shift from a place of hustle and drive to alignment. And this is why the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, the most successful people who really have come from nothing, have made it, have mentorship, have therapy, even, trust funds, right? They have an in-house psychologist, social worker, mentorship, mindset coaches, because you need that to drive towards personal, professional goals. And you need that too, which is why we do what we do, which is why I do what I do, because it's not enough that you get business strategy from one coach and you get mindset strategy from another. Like, if those two are not syncing, you can have issues. It's the same with, like, if your doctor wasn't talking to your physio, like, they might complement each other, but if they're not talking to each other, they're not going to have the same outcomes for you as if they are. So it's really important that you do the work and that you have someone pulling this out of you, have someone really getting you to the core of what the hell is important to you. And are you actually living it, or are you just bullshitting? Because a lot of people say, these are my values, these are my core values, but as we know from previous podcast episodes on core values, they're not actually core values. They've chosen things they do, not things that are core values. Then if they have their core values, they're not actually knowing how they live them day to day. Okay, if I asked you, your core value is love or freedom, what does that look like? What are the rules that you set for yourself for how people interact with you and how you interact with others? And how do you know you're not living from a place of love? So that's that. So getting clear on your values, really understanding that, understanding your life goals and how everything you're doing is working towards that, and understanding your unique personality, your story, what makes you you, because how you approach all of that is all going to be very different. Because like I said, when someone's an industry leader, when someone's being bold and audacious, we're all going to have different shit that comes up. And your shit's going to be different from the next person. Fear of being seen, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of security. Whatever your childhood, your experiences have led you to fear, that will come up in different ways. And that's why you need different techniques to address that. You can't get a business coach who's done marketing to get that out of you, yeah? They might do a little bit and give you some Tony Robbins bullshit, but that's not going to get to the deep core, yeah? So with that in mind, you can do this. If you want to work on your core values, go back to the episode on core values. Just search core values on this podcast and you'll find it. I also have a core values activity that you can do, all the core values cards inside my free resource library. So go check that out. But more importantly, I actually have an Aligned Offers 3-day challenge coming up at the start of September. For those who are listening to this or watching this live, again, I'm not on YouTube this time because I'm currently in Mumbai, and long story short, Wi-Fi issues. You'll hear that. But next week, you're going to see something really cool because I got some work done in India and I'm going to share that with you. So Aligned Offers Challenge. If you're interested in that, simply drop me a message or a comment that says aligned, or go check it out in the notes below, because if you're a part of our Tranquil Trailblazers membership, that's where we're hosting it. So you have to be part of one of our programs, either our Tranquil Trailblazer membership below. If you've done any coaching with me this month, so if you book a clarity call below, you're more than welcome to come along. If you're part of our Business Without Burnout, any of our coaching programs, the 20-Hour Business Week Academy, you will get access to that Align Offers program, which is all about finding out your story, creating services, offers, ideas around that, and content too. You know, if you want to really build your content, it has to be around your unique perspective, whether you're building an audience so you can have a book one day, a podcast one day, a media presence one day. You know, you want to be an industry leader with a voice, you've got to build your audience. And that also comes from having an aligned offer based on you, having an alignment with who you are. All right, beautiful souls, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Be kind to yourself because you deserve that. And give yourself a pat on the back again for listening to something that's going to improve yourself, your life, and those around you. I love you. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next episode of the 4Q podcast. Bye for now.